Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning back in, and if you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that way you can check out weekly posts on personal wealth management and market insights. My name is Ash, certified financial planner, bringing you the knowledge, perspective, and resources from my world to help you live a better financial life. Today, we're going to be talking about how to further your financial journey after budgeting and the cash flow analysis. By the way, if you haven't watched my video on those topics, they are in the description below. Next major step that you want to do to solidify that financial foundation is to create an emergency savings. But let me take a second real quick to emphasize the importance of having one. So on a scale of 1 to important, it's hella important. Before anybody can even consider investing into the stock market, they need to have an emergency saving. There is no alternative. People that invest without an emergency saving are fooling themselves. Hello 911? Yeah, I'd like to report a broke bitch. I've actually turned clients away from investment recommendations because they did not have a sufficient emergency savings. And emergency savings are even more so important when you have a family and dependents to care for. The pandemic and current recession has magnified the importance of having one. The record job loss due to COVID put a lot of pressure on lower to middle income families, most who struggle with day-to-day living costs like groceries, healthcare, and a major one, rent and their mortgage. But anyhow, the point I'm trying to make is that an emergency savings is supposed to be there to help you when the unexpected happens. And its intent is to provide you and your family with a financial cushion to carry on with basic living essentials for a given time period. Ideally, an emergency savings should be made up of 4 to 6 months of non-discretionary spending. Non-discretionary means expenses that are not of or related to leisure activities. For example, if I lost my job, I wouldn't be out here hitting bottomless mimosas or buying a PS5. Wait, I can't get a PS5? It's basically the expenses and obligations that you have that need to be paid monthly, like rent, car payments, groceries, utilities, phone bill, etc. A tool that can help you identify those expenses is the cash flow analysis tool, which I have in the description below. I actually walk you through the tool in a separate video, so be sure to check that out. The link is in the description below. So step 1 is to identify your monthly non-discretionary spending. And step 2 is to take that monthly amount and multiply it by 4. That number that you get equals the minimum amount you should have in your emergency savings. Emergency. I can't say emergency. 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 And the keyword there is minimum. Depending on your lifestyle, family dynamics, and comfort level, you can certainly have more. I've worked with families and individuals that keep no less than 1 year's worth of cash. Why? Because it helps them sleep at night, and their family needs are as such where it makes the most sense. For context, if you are single, no dependents, and just out here living your best life, the 4-month minimum should suffice for you, plus any additional cushion if you wish. If you have a family and dependents, you definitely want to be on the latter half of that range and have at least 6 months worth of spending. Pro tip, if you are married, both of you do not need to have your own emergency savings. It can definitely be combined, otherwise you'd just be doubling your cash reserve. However, if you do have family with kids, you might want to explore going beyond the 6-month minimum and pushing the cash reserve up to 8 to 10 months. I'm very conservative in this area because I'm very conscious of not altering my family's quality of life, so I always encourage folks to keep an additional buffer. So once you identified the right dollar amount, you want to keep it liquid. Dude, what the fuck? Not that liquid. I mean liquid as in easily accessible. You preferably want to keep it in an account that has no debit features. For example, a savings account would do great, or keeping it in cash in a brokerage account would be another great option. A comment that most folks have when it comes to keeping thousands of dollars in cash is, yo, I'm not getting any interest. But no, in reality, my friends, you are not getting really any interest on your deposits. As of last week, the average savings account is paying about 0.05% in interest. And just to give you an idea of how low that is, if you had $100 in a savings account for an entire year, you would only make 5 cents in interest. LOL. But hey, low interest rates are going to be the norm for a while, according to the Federal Reserve. So an idea that I always throw out to clients is that you can utilize online savings accounts. What is an online savings account? Basically just like a normal bank that offers higher yielding interest for its savings accounts. So while your Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, Citibank are paying you 0.05%, these online banks are paying 5 times that amount. And the reason why these banks are able to pay more interest, they are solely 100% online, which means they do not have nearly the same operating costs as a normal bank does. So they don't have the hundreds of retail brick and mortar locations or thousands of staff members. So in turn, they are able to provide higher yielding interest for their deposit holders. How safe are these online banks? Well, if you ask me, they're pretty safe. In my opinion, I think they're safer than normal savings accounts because many do not have or allow a debit card feature that conventionally could be hacked. And these online savings accounts are FDIC insured. Now, here are some places where you do not want to keep your emergency savings. Number 1, your checking checking account. Your checking account has debit and external transfer features, which is not ideal to keep thousands of dollars in cash reserves. Number 2, invest in stocks, bonds, or other assets. You do not want to invest your cash reserves into anything. We all know the markets fluctuate constantly, and when we may need our money the most is when the market can experience sharp declines, which can greatly reduce the amount of cash that we have available. Squeezing out a couple of percentage points of growth just isn't worth it. Number 3, retirement accounts. Retirement accounts are best utilized for long-term investing. These accounts are tax advantaged and perform best when positioned for the long term. Also, withdrawals from retirement accounts can be subject to taxes and penalties from the IRS. Shit. Lastly, a place where you don't want to keep your emergency savings is under your mattress. And yes, people still actually do this, and it freaking blows my mind. Blasting it is. But in all honesty, don't do this. It's unsafe, you're not yielding any interest, and lastly, you're more subject to using the money if you don't end up getting robbed first. So in a nutshell, your emergency savings is a big part of securing your financial foundation and providing a peace of mind when it comes to your finances. I really hope this video was helpful, so be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and also be sure to share to those that you think might find this information useful. My name is Ash, I'll catch you guys next time.